Welcome in. It is a Sports by the Book makeshift special here on Monday, March 31st. I'm Jeff Parles. We know the Final Four in San Antonio. We'll do a quick run of it here on the show here on the channel. Again, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button, Sports by the Book on YouTube. We know the matchups. All four number one seeds. Second time that's happened since the addition to seeding in the NCAA tournament. And you know what? I think it's a darn good thing. We get the four best teams in Ken Palm. We get the four best teams, period. Houston and Duke, Florida and Auburn, and all SEC matchup on the left. And we'll do that first. Auburn handles Michigan State. They cover. There was an injury scare for Janai Broome. Looked like he may have suffered a significant injury. Instead, makes a Willis Reed-like return, able to complete the game, and Auburn wins and advances to their second Final Four, first one since 2019. They'll take on Florida, who was down 9 points with less than 3 minutes to go against Texas Tech, and they found a way to win the game in regulation. Walter Clayton, absolute stud. Florida did not cover, but got the victory against Texas Tech on Saturday, and now we get a second matchup between these two teams. Florida, of course, won at Auburn earlier this year, and right now this game is sitting at 2.5 with the Florida Gators favored with a total of 160.5. The initial thought for me is that I would look to Florida laying anything short of 3 just because of the potential injury for Broome. I just wonder how, after a few days off, is that elbow okay? Is that leg okay? After, again, it looked pretty gnarly, but good on Broome in order to come back and look like himself when he came back into the game. That's the early game, 3:09 Pacific time on Saturday. And then, of course, the nightcap. Duke, Houston. Duke beats Alabama by 20. Houston handles Tennessee, winning comfortably in Indianapolis on Sunday afternoon. Now, to me, the two best teams in this tournament square off in the national semifinal. Duke is a 4.5-point favorite. Totals 136.5 here at the South Point. There's a lot of 136 in the market as we're recording this. It's very simple for me. If Houston can make 3-point shots, they will be able to pull this short upset here. As good as Duke is, they probably are the most talented team in the country, the best player in the country. They've been the most dominant through this year. They've been the most dominant through this tournament with only one single-digit game. And that was really never in doubt, that win against Arizona in the round of 16. But for me, I'm sticking with what I had pre-tournament. Kelvin Sampson's time is now. Houston's time is now. That defense does enough. They're long enough to stay with Flag. And Duke still really hasn't been in a close game all year long that they've handled well down the stretch. So I like Houston. Short upset. I think we get Florida and Houston on Monday night in San Antonio, and I'm going to stick with Houston as of right now, entering the Final Four. Looking at the rest of Monday, the college basketball crown gets going here in Las Vegas. 4 quick games. Utah and Butler, and here's the rule of thumb with these games. Look to the over before they get out of control. It's currently 157 with Butler and Utah, 2.5. We'll only look to the over in that one. Again, all these teams have basically had 3 weeks off. We haven't seen a lot of these teams in a while. I think the defenses are going to be sluggish. I think the pace is going to be outrageous in all these games, especially at these press conferences we saw over the weekend. I don't think a lot of defense is getting played over the weekend. And also, again, check who's in, check who's out. Transfer portal is already open in college hoops. Boise State, the second betting favorites to win this tournament, are 8.5 against George Washington. Total 142.5, the lowest total by far of today. Nebraska's 5.5 against Arizona State. Total's 155. This is my favorite over, even though it is the second highest total, and it's the total that has moved the most. I just think you're good into the 160s on this. That's how little defense I think will get played with an outrageous pace. And then Georgetown and Wazoo. This one's been hacked the most on Monday morning. 160.5 now in this total. Still think we're good to the over on Georgetown and Wazoo. All right, a little bit of baseball before we get out of here in this abbreviated version of Sports by the Book today. Dodgers and Braves. Dodgers swept out the Tigers last week. They're now 5-0 on the year. Braves 0-4. Bad start. Padres sweep them in San Diego, so a quick short up by 5. And boy, this is a tough spot for the Braves. Grant Holmes against Tyler Glasnow. Big pitching mismatch here today. Minus 240 here at the South Point on the Dodgers. $2, which is the best price in the market on the Atlanta Braves. Total of 8. Boy, with that big of a pitching mismatch, that is hard to even look. Even with how good the Braves are, even with a bad weekend, $2 I don't think is quite good enough. And I would actually look to the over in this game at 8. More so than anything. At some point, Atlanta's offense has to show up. And then the Padres, who are 4-0 on the year, the complete sweep of the Atlanta Braves over the opening weekend, are $1.30 at home tonight with Hart against Ortiz of the Guardians. Even with the 4-0 start, this price is too short. I like San Diego laying $1.30 at home against the Cleveland Guardians. Padres need to rack up as many wins as possible. It's going to be very hard in this NL that is so log-jammed. But hey, a season series win already locked up against Atlanta 4 days into the season. You got to like that if you're the San Diego Padres. All right, that's what we got for you. Abbreviated version here on Monday, March 31st here on Sports by the Book. We will hope to be with you tomorrow on the 1st. Maybe there will be an April Fool's joke or two right here on Sports by the Book.